Brooklyn Independent Television.
Caught in the Act is supported in part by public funds from the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs in partnership with the City Council.
Coming up, a dream comes true for a Russian dancer.
Since I was a child, I always wanted to have my own dance school.
Inside the classroom at Brighton Ballet.
You show your expressions and it's very passionate for me.
First of all, it impresses girls, and also it's a lot of fun at parties.
Electrokinetics, electro-spatial design, and kinetic sculpture.
Jason Krugman in his DUMBO studio, making art with light.
This place is a huge change for us.
A tour of Roulette Theater's new Brooklyn home for adventurous art. And
I came to the United States in 1976, and I came with a dream. Since I was a child, I always wanted to have my own dance school and to teach dance. It took time, but my dream came true. In 1989, Brighton Ballet started their school with 5 students. Now we have up to 500 students registered throughout the year.
My favorite is ballet because it's you show your expressions and it's very passionate for me.
Dance is like a butterfly. It's delicate and very graceful. I take improvisation, modern, and ballet, and I might be taking tap somewhere next year. And for now, my favorite is ballet because it lets me express myself, and it's where I usually take out all my emotions, and I love being on stage, and I love to hear the applause of the people.
Ballet is one of my favorite classes. It's because whenever I go here, stress is released from me, and without ballet, I wouldn't be who I am today.
We have from 12 to 18 teachers a year. Some of them teach classical ballet, some of them teach hip-hop. Sometimes we will hire a consultant who will come and do the workshop in African dance or Indian dance. Even though we're in Brooklyn, we have kids from different countries. All of them speak one language, it's language of dance.
It's Clarissa.
I'm Marcus.
And we've been in New York for about 2.5 years. We moved here from Germany, from Berlin. And when we came and met the people here, we watched a class, and we thought that the girls, for her age, were very poised. The teachers treated them in a very serious way, but they still had fun, but they carried themselves a little differently. And we've loved it since we've been here.
got interviewed when we applied at what level she's already, and we were surprised because we said she's only 3 years old. And then Vladimir said that, yeah, we started 2 already, so we felt already, oh, we are behind 1 year with our daughter's education. So, of course, it's intriguing to see this commitment.
Ballet is one of the forms that give a child overall discipline. We have some children that become professional. Few of the girls that soloist, one of them is in San Francisco Ballet, the other one in New York City Ballet. We have boys that became soloists.
You can dance classical ballet, you can dance wherever you want because you have strong, beautiful legs and beautiful long arms, and you have also good coordination for moves, so it's really easier for you to dance modern or jazz. Maybe hip-hop, it's maybe more different style, but also it will be much better if you learn classical ballet before. Classical ballet, it's like a base for all of style of dance.
At Brighton Ballet Theater, I've been studying Ukrainian dance and ballet for the past 3 years. At first, I was like, the stereotypical boy shouldn't be doing ballet because it's only for girls, but as I started doing it, I saw that there was a lot of masculinity involved, and that you actually, it's a very big exercise. Like I'm on the fencing team in my school, and I've never actually done as much like exercise as I have done in ballet. So it's not as easy as it looks. Dance is just for everybody. It shouldn't define you.
I've been in Brighton Ballet for 4 years. Came to United States as a dancer with my mom's group, and she didn't want me to hang out in the streets with different guys, so I decided to stay with dancing and just do something for life.
I guess it's like it's a better thing if you can dance. First of all, it impresses girls, and also it's a lot of fun at parties that you have that ability where there are some kids just standing there. And it's really fun, like learning new moves, pirouettes, when you're doing jumps like jetés, and you have like a sense of power. It's kind of like you're like a crane, just like jumping in the wind. So yeah.
Ballet is the basis of everything, so I take the techniques I learn, like the spotting in ballet, and I apply it to, gymnastics training and how you have to, know your body to fulfill certain skills, and, I try, and it really helps. Doing the twirls and all these little stunts and tricks that I incorporate into my dancing, and it's really fun, and I love to entertain people, so that gets me happy.
We produce 2 full-scale ballets a year, and every year is a new ballet. Kids get opportunity to dance with professional dancers on stage. We create atmosphere for each student that they perform like in a real theater. It's my dream for Brighton Ballet Theater to stay forever and to serve the community.
Electrokinetics, electro-spatial design, physical interaction design, and kinetic sculpture is mainly what I would describe myself as doing. Basically, arranging wires in three-dimensional space such that a circuit can function. When I was first starting off, trying to figure out how I was going to make work that people would pay attention to, that was worth making, that I could hopefully get money to make and get people behind, I thought a lot about the psychology of perception. So thinking about what things can people not help but pay attention to. And the list that I came up with were things that look like people, things that are big, things that light up, and things that move. So I kind of took those four characteristics and tried to think, okay, how can I combine those things? I really enjoy combining electronic media with organic materials as well, trying to do so in a polished and elegant way. So this is, it's an array of white LEDs, and they're diffused by different silkworm cocoons. Each one of these structures was made by one little insect, and the fact that there's light radiating out of them is kind of like it's breathing this odd life back into them. When I was in college, I studied both fine arts and also economics, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do after school, but when it came time to figure out how I was going to live on my own, I ended up deciding to go work on Wall Street because I couldn't figure out how to make any money with art. My strategy at the time was to make money in Wall Street and do really well until I was in my 30s, and then quit and become an artist with the money I had saved. And I started to feel badly about my job, and I'm like, I have more energy now than I probably will ever have. So instead of trying to like save for my future life as an artist, I decided that I should just go for it. So I found out about a program at NYU called the Interactive Telecommunications Program, and what attracted me about that program was that I could learn more technical skills rather than the traditional art skills like sculpting and painting and drawing. I was worried that if I went to go and get an MFA in those disciplines, that if I didn't make it as an artist, I might have trouble making it in general. So I went back to school and I got really into electronic artwork, which has led me to where I am today. The Firefly piece was my graduate thesis, and it's kind of what launched me into becoming an artist. It's a wind-sensitive LED display. It sounds really complicated, but it was actually really simple. It's a grid of many, many LEDs that's connected on one side to power, but the other side is just attached to a little hanging wire. And when the wind blows, it pushes that little wire, which touches a contact, turning on the LED. And as the wind blows over it, you get a very nice and real, organic light display that basically is showing you the way that the air is blowing over the piece. I got hired to do a few music festivals, so basically I built a larger, more portable version of my thesis, so I made it into 2x2 foot panels that I could take apart and ship around. And then from there I started getting known a little bit more and just basically running down commissions, trying to meet as many people as I could, and I've been doing that for the past like 2.5 years now. I've done a couple different public art installations since then, and right now I'm working on a series of permanent outdoor sculptures for a new park that's going to be in Bethesda, Maryland. In the final version, this will be laminated glass, probably 1 inch thick, and then this will be industrially rolled and welded steel or possibly aluminum. It'll probably be about 9 feet tall. And I need to figure out how to make it weatherized and make it durable. So that's largely what I'm working on now, as well as going through final designs, talking with engineers about how to realize this artwork. When I don't have a job at a particular time, it's really up to me to set my own hours and to get myself out of bed and to do the work. And I often end up working really long hours because one of the most challenging things about this is I never know whether I'm doing the right thing. Like usually, you know, if I have a job I'm getting paid, I know what I have to do. But in terms of developing my own career and trying to come up with strategy and figure out how to allocate my money to maybe hire somebody or to rent a space or something like that, I have to really be confident of what the decision is going to be. There's not much time in this profession to go down one road and then decide not, come back and go the other one. You can only do that so many times before you run out of money and you have to get a full-time job. I want to share my enthusiasm for discovery. I would really like to have people become more interested and feel more connected to electronic things. We assume that everything electronic gets produced in China or gets produced somewhere else, and that it's behind this door, that it doesn't matter looking there or trying to figure it out. We're going to become totally disconnected from all of the devices and tools that we're using. There are a lot of observable cause and effect relationships that go on with electronics. Oftentimes what I'm working with, it's simple on the small units, but then if you repeat it 1,000 times, it's still simple to understand, but it's incredibly complex because it's been repeated. I really like working that way because it makes things transparent to the non-expert. It's hard because cell phones and computers, they are like black boxes. I mean, trying to open one up and look at how it works and figure it out is very unattainable, but at least the knowledge that that stuff is based on these other simpler things. One of the scariest things in working with electronic media is that you never know what the next thing to come out will be. And hopefully, if your work is smart enough, it goes beyond the media itself and becomes relevant aside from the media. My hope is that within the next few years, I'll have a few artworks that I really stand by and that I feel are about the design and the idea more than just the media.
Roulette is a performing arts space that's been around in New York since 1978. It was founded in a loft space in Tribeca and was there for about 25 years or so. Then moved to a space in Soho, and we just moved to this new theater here. We present all new music, almost exclusively by living composers or choreographers. I think we used to use this term experimental arts, but I think now we're using the term adventurous. Basically anything that's not popular music. It has to be something adventurous, something people experimenting with new forms or new ways, new approaches to music.
This is a sad set of occurrences. This group doesn't have what it takes.
I had the idea of trying to do a little series of things in my loft in 1980. And which was, you know, which was what everyone was doing then. I mean, all the arts were in Tribeca and Soho in the lofts scene.
So this place is a huge change for us. It's also exciting to be in Brooklyn. I think when Roulette started, it was kind of at the epicenter of where kind of like art and music was happening in New York, in Lower Manhattan, but it's kind of shifted towards Brooklyn, so it makes more sense to be here now.
It's all the things that we sort of tried to do and crammed into little spaces and finally had the space to make it, you know, to accommodate it. Has the acoustics that we've always strived for, the best acoustics we can.
We try to keep everything as modular as possible. As you can see, we don't have a seating that's kind of like set into the floor here. So we can move the seating for however the performance wants it. We have 2 levels of stages here. The bottom level of the stage is actually modular as well, so we can pull the pieces apart and put them in another room if we want to have, like, let's say, a larger dance concert, or if the performer would like to perform in the middle of the room or something like that. also have some commissioning programs for emerging composers. And this year we also have a commissioning program for large jazz ensembles to promote new work.
It's been a part of what we do every year. I take proposals that come to me. Most of what happens here is from requests. It's not so much a curatorial situation as it is a programming from proposals that are submitted. People can come and try different things and get a feel for the space and get to know the artists a little bit and have some sort of relationship with the work.
The first check that Roulette ever received to help support itself was a check from John Cage, who came to a performance here and just brought a check, I think, for $1,000. And it blew their minds at the time, but he thought it was an important space. And here we are 34 years later, so.
Watch this and other Brooklyn Independent Television episodes online at bricartsmedia.org/BIT.